It's a part of our university lecture now. We have our professor, Dr. K. Perumal. So, without wasting time, I request him to take the class. Sir.
வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். குரு வாழ்க, குருவே துணை. Respected professors, dear brothers and sisters, I am really very much happy to stand before you and to say a few words about Swamiji's philosophy on this evolution of the living beings. As our professor introduced this concept, Swamiji is not merely a philosopher, he is a scientist too. He has analyzed each and everything scientifically, logically, rationally. And he has simplified all these philosophies. Generally we say that the science without philosophy is blind and the philosophy without science is lame. So there should be a harmonious relationship between the science and the philosophy. Actually, Swamiji has combined this. So he has analyzed all the philosophy through the scientific tools. In that way, he has given this evolution of the living being also. So now you are thorough about the evolution of the universe, how it evolved from the absolute space. So the absolute space, it has no boundary, it has infinite potential, and with that force and the consciousness, the finest dust particles, which you call as formative dust particles, they evolved first. Then these dust particles, they combine together, then they form the particles which you call akas or wind or Vethathiri. And those, the primary energy particles, scientifically we can say they are the subatomic particles. In an atom, when we say electron, proton and the neutron, they are all the subatomic particles. So what Swamiji calls as the akas or the primary energy particles, they are all nothing but the electrons, protons and the neutrons, what science say now. So electron is a primary energy particle of Swamiji's philosophy. Then later on the same electron, after some crores and crores of years, it becomes proton. When we analyze the difference between electron and a proton, electron is spinning fast. Electron is negative, proton is positive, that's all. The negative and the positiveness may be attributed because of the variation in the spinning speed. Then later on the proton that becomes neutron. And finally the neutron, it loses its weight and energy and becomes nothingness later on. So E is equal to mc square. The energy is converted to, mass is converted to energy there. So what Swamiji says is the primary energy particle, which are nothing but the association of the formative dust particles. So these primary energy particles, they are equivalent to the electron, proton and the neutron. They combine to form an atom. The atoms, they combine to form molecules. Then the entire universe, what we call as Panchabhuta, the land, water, fire, air and the akas, which we call as Panchabhuta, 5 physical elements. The land, water, fire, air and the akas. So the akas is where the primary energy particles are floating individually, independently. So that medium we call as the akas. When these particles, after so many crores of years, when they become electron, proton, the neutron, they combine to form atoms. There comes the air medium. So air, we know that it's a mixture of nitrogen and oxygen. Then later on, one after other, that will be coming here. All these Panchabhutas, the 5 physical elements, they are coming there. So this we call as the evolution of the universe. So now we come to the evolution of the living being. Where the living being evolved? From which point it originates? There is no living being on the moon. There is no living being on the Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. There is no living being in the Mercury, Venus. There may be in the Mars. They are having a doubt over that. There it is not also confirmed. But only on the earth living beings are there. So what may be the reason why there is no living being on the moon? At the same time, the crores and crores of species are living on the earth. What may be the reason to your the knowledge and the experience? What we can say, there is no living being on the moon. It is confirmed because we have gone to the moon and verified, and we have seen the moon through the telescope so many times. They have analyzed everything. There is no living being on the moon. And we have no evidence of any living being in any other planets around the sun. But something may be there in the other stars. Other stars may be there. See, all the stars, what we look at the sky, they are all equivalent to our sun. Even some of the stars are very much bigger than our sun. So each star, what we see in the sky, they may be having their own planets, maybe having 10 or 15 or 20 planets. And one of the planets, there may be living being. There is a chance. The science never denied. There is a chance. But we don't have evidence. We don't have direct proof. Why we don't have direct proof? We can also go to the next star and find whether there is any living being or not. Now we are having all the facilities. Now we are using the rockets to move to the other planets. Even we can use the same rockets to go to the other stars and verify whether they are having any bioplanets or not. But do you know how long will it take for a satellite or a rocket to reach the nearest star? So the nearest star, which you call as the Alpha Centaurus, that is the brightest and nearest star, that is situated at 4.3 light year. 4.3 light year. See, in the space, we cannot measure the distance by miles or kilometers. It is measured in terms of light year. Light year means the distance traveled by the light in 1 year. You know, the velocity of the light is 3 lakh kilometers per second. Velocity of light is 3 lakh kilometers per second. If it travels for 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 year, that distance we call as the light year. So when the light travels continuously for 1 year, that distance is light year. So the nearest star is 4.3 light year. Even when you go with a rocket, at the speed of light, then it takes 4.3 years for you to reach the nearest star. You can imagine another way. You are having a cell phone here. Another man is having a cell phone there at the nearest star. Now you are contacting him. Oh, I am attending a class at aliyar. The class are going nicely. What about you? You are questioning him. When will this message will go to him? After 4.3 years. So the message will be going for the 4.3 years. Only after the 4.3 years he will get the message. That is the distance of the nearest star. Again he replies, okay, all right. We have already attended the course here. Swamiji is now here right now with us, he says. So that information will reach you after 4.3 years. So to giving and getting back an information from the nearest star, it takes 8.6 years. 8.6 years. That too when the signal travels with the speed of the light. When we travel at the speed of the rocket, then it takes roughly 50,000 years to reach the nearest star. Even if you take the fastest rocket available on the earth, it takes 50,000 years to reach the nearest star. Again we would return back. Then another 50,000 years. So if we can allot 1 lakh year to go and return back, then we can go and visit what is happening there in the nearest star. So it is impossible. So we calculate theoretically and we imagine so many hypotheses. Through the radiations, what they are coming there, we analyze whether there is a chance for living being or not. So there may be chances for the living being in the other stars also. But right now, around our solar system, we don't have any proof for living being in the other planets. Only on the earth we have that. Okay, all right. Only on the earth these 5 physical elements exist together. These 5 physical elements exist together. Solid is there, liquid is there, and the temperature, heat is there, air is there, and akash is there. So all these 5 physical elements, they exist together in the earth. In the moon, there is no air, there is no water. So 2 medias are missing. So there cannot be any living being in the moon. Similarly, when you take any other planets, something will be missing there. So there is no chance for any living being in any other planet. Only on the earth it is there. That too, we are very much fortunate that the earth is at a distance of 9 crore miles from the sun. That's why all these 5 physical elements exist together. Imagine that earth, it goes another 1 crore mile far away from the sun. Instead of this 9 crore mile, when the earth goes to 10 crore miles from the sun, then what will happen? All the water will freeze into ice. You won't get any water at all. When you want to drink, then you should take some ice slab, then you should chip it away. There is no other way. So all the ice, water will freeze to ice. All right. Another question: when the earth comes closer to the sun, instead of 9 crore mile, it comes to 7 crore mile. All the water will evaporate. All the water will evaporate. You won't get any water now. Only the cloud will be there. That's all. So earth stays at a comfortable position. Therefore, the water exists as a liquid. That's why these 5 physical elements are there on the earth. Okay, all right. Then we analyze. So each element, it radiates a particular radiation or an energy from it. So each atom, each molecule is giving out an energy from it. That generally we call as a magnetism. Each atom, each molecule, anything on the earth or anything, everywhere, it radiates. See the tube light which is giving you a light, which you can observe. But even this table, this bench, is giving some radiation. We may not be able to observe it. Even this wall, which is giving some radiation, we may not be able to observe it, but it is giving out some radiations. See, our eyes is limited. Its resolution is very much narrowed down. We can see the object only within the visible region. That is from the violet to red, we can see that. Our visibility is limited to violet to red. But beyond the red, there are infinite number of colors. Similarly, beyond the violet, there are again infinite number of colors. All these colors will appear to be blocked for our eyes. That's all. The visible region is very, very narrow region in the electromagnetic spectrum. Something is beyond the red also, something is below the red, violet also. That we cannot see. So, there is our resolution is limited to that level. Okay, all right. So, these 5 physical elements, it exists together here on the earth. In all other planets, they are not there. All right. These 5 physical elements, each one is radiating. The akash, which is giving us some magnetism, and the air, which is giving some magnetism, the fire, which is giving some magnetism, and the water, which is letting out some magnetism, and the solid substance, it is also giving out some magnetism. Okay, first we begin from the akash. What is akash? What is akash? That is the primary energy particle. Primary energy particle. What is it made up of? Dust particles. What do you mean by dust particles? What do you mean by dust particles? If you have the right imagine of the dust particles, then you are very much close to the God. Do you want to go close to the God? If you have the right imagination, see the imagination leads to invention. If your imagination is real, that is intuition. If your imagination is real, that is intuition. If your imagination is false, that is illusion. If it is right, that is intuition. If it is false, that is illusion. Normally, it may happen anywhere else. But if we are oriented towards only the right things, then always our intuition will be leading to the right things only. Okay, all right. Now let us imagine. What is formatic dust particles? Imagine it is a very, very, very small globe, spherical particle, very, very, very small. It is the smallest one on the universe. Nothing can be smaller than that. Small spherical particle. It is spinning with an infinite speed. Spinning with an infinite speed. When it stops the spinning, it becomes the space. As long as it is spinning, it occupies a space. It has a volume. Then you call it a particle. What do you mean by particle? Part of the celestial bodies, or part of the space. This particle, part of the space, particle. So that formative dusty particle, it is the infinitesimally small. Nothing can be smaller than that. Very, very small spherical globe. And it is spinning itself with infinite speed. Nothing can be faster than that. Nothing can be faster than that. When it stops its spinning, it becomes space. When it stops its spinning, it becomes space. So, how do you imagine that particle? How can you imagine that particle? Can I call that as a spinning space? Space is full of energy. We cannot see the space. It's full of darkness. So that spinning space of infinitesimal volume with infinite spinning speed, that we call as a formative dust particle. Can you imagine that? So its space is vast. There's no boundary. It is full of energy, full of consciousness. That space, at some points, it spins at some points. It is something equivalent to the, okay, now you imagine the air and the cyclone. So around the earth, a cover of air is there. Up to 10 miles something, a dense air is there. Above that, you will be having air with less density, you will be having that. Okay, all right. This air is around the earth. Because of the solar radiation, some place it will be heated and some place it will be cooled. So when it is heated, the density will be coming down. So therefore, pressure variation will be there. When the pressure comes down at some point, then the air from all sides will be coming close to that. Air from all sides will be coming to the low pressure point. When they meet together, then they will form a cycle. They will circulate. So this is the way the cyclone occurs. The low depression, the Bay of Bengal, we say, at the Arabic Kadal, we say, when the pressure comes down, then all the air nearby, they are coming close to that. When they meet together, then they revolve, they spin. So that spinning air, which you call as a cyclone. Am I correct? Spinning air, we call as a cyclone. So cyclone is nothing but a spinning air. Am I correct? When it stops its spinning, then what happens to the cyclone? It becomes ordinary air. When the cyclone stops its spinning, it becomes ordinary air. Similarly, you take the same example for the space. The space at some points, the energy comes down. So the nearby space, it reaches that point to fulfill that energy. So there occurs a spinning. So that spinning space of infinitesimal volume, that you call as a formative dust particle. Am I correct? Can you imagine? Why your troubles are so much? Just see formed dust particle, then you go to the next one. Instead of understanding, we feel sleepy. Okay, all right. All right. So the formative dust particles are nothing but spinning space of infinitesimal volume. That's all. So these formative dust particles, they associate in millions and millions and millions. That association of millions of dust particles, it is called as the primary energy particle. Wind or akas. Wind or akas. So these akas particles are floating in the space, then and there, then and there, then and there. Nothing else. That medium, generally we call as akas medium. So around these primary energy particles, the space will be there, it will be compressing the primary energy particles. So because of the compression, some of the formative dust particles, they will be coming out of the primary energy particles. So those particles who are escaping from the primary energy particles, they slowly dissolve in the space and transfer the energy to the surrounding space. This dissolution of the dust particles, they cause the magnetism. The dissolution of the dust particles in the space, it causes the magnetism. For this magnetism, we can have a small imagination. Suppose you drop a cube of ice and water. Cube of ice and the water, and a bucket of water. What will happen after some time? The ice melts down, it becomes water. The ice melts down, it becomes water. Why? The water and the ice are one and the same. When the temperature comes down, it becomes ice. When the temperature goes up, again it becomes water, that's all. Similarly, these dust particles which are escaping from the primary energy particles, slowly they stop spinning. Finally, they dissolve in the space. That transfer of energy we call as the magnetism. That transfer of energy we call as the magnetism. So each particle will be always radiating this magnetism from its center. Similarly, you take any particle, anything may be there. Everything is radiating. Or you can say all the masses are decaying, continuously decaying. This bench is there. You cannot see the bench the same way after some 1 lakh year. Slowly it is decaying. But for us, we say it is permanent. Because our life is limited to 100 years. That's why when we say that it is found to be permanent, if you could see the same bench after 1 crore year, it will become nothing. Slowly it decays. Finally it becomes nothing. For which it takes crores and crores of years. So each particle is decaying. That is true. So when it is decaying, it is letting out some energy. That energy we call as the magnetism. If that energy comes from a inanimate thing, that you call as a universal magnetism. If that energy comes from a living being, you call that as a biomagnetism. That's all. If the energy comes from an inanimate thing, you call as a universal magnetism. If it comes from a living thing, you call as a biomagnetism. Okay, all right. Now let us classify what is universal magnetism, what is biomagnetism. What about the light coming from the tube light? Is it universal magnetism or biomagnetism? Universal magnetism. What is the radiation coming from the sun? Universal magnetism. What is the radiation coming from the stars? It is universal magnetism. Okay, all right. Now, when you are thinking about this, immediately your thought goes to somebody else, a friend. You think about your friend now. So some kind of radiation from you, it goes to your friend and it kicks him there. What is this type of radiation? This is biomagnetism. So anything, any energy coming from a living being, that you call as a biomagnetism, and anything coming from a inanimate, that you call as a universal magnetism. Okay, all right. So therefore, the 5 physical elements, Akas, it has its own magnetism. Air, it has its own magnetism. Fire, it has its own magnetism. Water, it has its own magnetism. And the solid, it has its own magnetism. All right, now we will analyze further. So from the Akas, that the dust particles are escaping and they create a magnetism, and that is the cause for the basic pressure. Basic pressure. So pressure is caused due to the magnetism coming out from the Akas particles. Next, air. You come to the air medium. How the air occurs? When the Akash particles, later on they become electron, proton, the neutron, then they combine together, then they form atoms and the molecules. So the air is a mixture of, what is the air? Air is a mixture of nitrogen and oxygen. So when 7 electrons, 7 protons, 7 neutrons, they combine, they form nitrogen. When 8 electrons, 8 protons, 8 neutrons combine, they become oxygen. When these nitrogen and oxygen, they mix, then it is called as a air. So it's a mixture of nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, air. All right. What is the magnetism coming out from the air? What is the magnetism coming out from the air? Sound, very good. The sound. The air molecules, they vibrate. So when I am talking here, what happens? Inside this, the air molecules, they vibrate. They transfer the energy to you. If you take out all the air molecules inside the room, then you cannot hear anything. The vibrations caused by the air molecules, that is a sound. So that is the magnetism let out by the air. Second medium. Then coming to the third medium. What is the third medium? Fire. What is the magnetism coming out from the third medium? Light and the heat. From the fire, light is coming there. That is the magnetism of the fire. From the fire, heat is coming there. That is the magnetism of the fire. Okay, all right. Then again we go to another medium. What is the next medium? Water or the liquid. What is the magnetism coming out from the liquid? Taste. How do you observe the taste? See, from the fire, the magnetism coming out, you can feel that light and the heat. But how do you feel the taste? Only through the tongue you can feel it. Why not? When it's far away from there, you cannot feel the taste. Why not? Why not? Liquid, the molecules are so tightly packed. Molecules are so tightly packed. So therefore the magnetism coming out from there, it cannot escape out of that medium. It is circulating inside. Only when you put it there on the tongue, you can feel the taste. Because the molecules are so packed. You take a cup of water, then you boil it, let them become water vapor. How much water vapor will be coming there? 1,500 cups of water vapor will be coming there. Just 1 cup of water will become 1,500 cups of vapor. That's for the molecules are separated, distributed for long distance. Therefore, in the liquid, it's so tightly packed that magnetism cannot escape from it. That's why you are unable to taste it at a faraway distance. Only when you put it on the tongue, you can feel the taste. Okay, all right. All the liquids, they have that magnetism as taste. Then what about the solid? What is the magnetism coming from the solid? Smell. Whether all the solids are having that magnetism of smell? Whether all the solids are having? Yes, they do have. But the solids are so tightly packed. The magnetism cannot escape. When you disintegrate the solid, then later on you can find the smell coming out from that. See, just you take a hair and you smell it, you don't feel anything. But you put the hair on the fire. Can you smell that? Just you take a hair and smell, you don't find anything. But you put the hair on a fire. Yeah, you can see that burnt smell. Why? Just molecules are distributed. Molecules are disintegrated. Molecules are moved away. Then the magnetism will escape. You can find it. You take butter, you smell, you don't find anything. But you put it on a small bowl and heat it. What happens? When it becomes ghee, how much smell it comes out? But it has been there. So each and every solid has its own smell. But it is hidden there. Because the molecules are tightly packed, that magnetism cannot escape. Okay, all right. Now, so 5 magnetism in 5 medias. Am I correct? So the solid related to smell, liquid related to taste, fire related to light and heat, then air related to sound, akash related to pressure. Just pressure, that's all we say. So each media is giving out a magnetism. So now what happens is, on the earth, these 5 physical elements exist then and there. There occurs some rare coincidence. Accidentally, all these 5 medias meet some points. On the earth, there occurs some rare coincidence that all these 5 physical elements, they meet together. Where it may occur? Where it may occur? The 5, that is, solid should be there, liquid should be there, heat should be there, air should be there, akash should be there. All these 5 physical elements, they are all inanimate. As long as they are separate, they are individual, we call as inanimate. Air is inanimate, water is inanimate, land is inanimate, heat is inanimate, even the akash is inanimate. Okay? All these 5 inanimate things, when they meet together, where is the chance for them to meet together? Where is the chance for them to meet together? So in our culture, they described Dasavadara. See, Dasavadara. Our ancient people, they have tried their level best to analyze the origin of the living being. But scientifically, somewhere they may deviate. But we should appreciate their efforts in analyzing this origin of the living being. But they have found the right place they have found. But the right living being they could not find, because in their age science has not developed to that extent. But they have found where the first living being might have originated. So in the Dasavadara, where the first origin? Water. Why water? Yeah, water. At the depth of the water, bottom of the water, land is there. Land is there. Air is mixed in the water. See, the water, oxygen is there in the water. When you boil the water, oxygen will be coming out. So air is dissolved in the water. So air is there, water is there, and land is there at the bottom. So 3 medias. Then what other media you require? Fire, heat energy, solar radiation is coming there. It goes, penetrates through the water. So the water becomes hot. So 4 medias. What other thing left out? Akash. Akash can penetrate anywhere else. Akash can penetrate anywhere else. Any solid media it can easily penetrate. So all these 5 medias are available at the bottom of the sea or water. Therefore, they have rightly imagined the first origin maybe from the ocean. So to their thinking, what they found, fish or something else might have been there, the first origin. But they could not see the plants coming there at the bottom of the water. Plants are also there. When you see the Discovery Channel, and you can see thousands of plants at the bottom of the ocean, you can see that. But in their age, they could not analyze that. But we appreciate their effort. So plants are the first one. How they evolved? So all these 5 physical elements, land, water, heat, air and the akash, they combine together. All these 5 magnetism, the pressure, sound, light and heat, taste and smell, all these 5 magnetism, they adjust themselves. They circulate themselves. Harmoniously they form a blend up. That is the origin of the living being. That is the origin of the living being. So all these 5 physical elements, solid, liquid, fire or heat or air and the akash, energy particles, they combine together and they form a single unit. And all these 5 magnetism, they adjust in some way so that there becomes a harmonious relationship, friendship occurring there. So that is the evolution of the first living being. What are they in the 5 physical elements? What are the 5 magnetism? Pressure, sound, light, taste and smell. Therefore, what happens? In the first combination of the 5 physical elements, that living being that understands the pressure, that feels the pressure, a small physical body is created. That physical body, it feels the pressure, touch feeling. You see, all the living beings, they are nothing but the association of the five physical elements. Even we too. We are nothing but the combination of the solid, bones, and the muscles, liquid, blood, and so many other liquids inside the body. Heat, temperature, 19.6 degree Fahrenheit. Air, we breathe in and breathe out. And Akas. What is Akas? That is the life force. That is the life force circulating there in our body. It is something equivalent to the current in a wire. Can you see the current? Can you see the current? We cannot see the current, but we can see the application of the current. The light is coming out, the fan is running, the speaker is working. So you can see the application, but you cannot see the current directly. Similarly, the life force cannot be seen, but because of the life force circulating, then the body functions. All these physical and mental functions are due to this circulation of the life force. So the life force is equal to the Akas. So the five physical elements, solid, that is the bone and the flesh. Liquid, what is equivalent to? Blood and other liquids which are there in the body. Fire, that is the temperature of the body, 19.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Air, so we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out the carbon dioxide. Then Akas, that is our life force. That is our life force. When it is there inside the body, you call it Chittakas. Chittakas. When it is there outside, you call it Magakas. When they combine as other elements, you call it Buddhakas. Buddhakas. Different types of medias. So all the five physical elements, they combine together. They form the living being. So the first living being, it senses only the pressure. It has only the body. It senses only the pressure. So now, we take it granted, it may be plants. It may be plants. So the plants, they can sense only the pressure. They have no eyes, no ear, no tongue. So it cannot sense any other feeling. It can sense only the pressure. Have you seen a plant which is very much sensitive to the pressure? Even if you touch, immediately it will indicate. What is that? Touch me not. So all the plants, they have that feeling, but it has that sensitive feeling, that's all. Even if you touch any plant, it will have its own impact on it. But this touch me not plant, it is very much sensitive there. But each plant can feel your touch. That's why when you are going on the ground, you should not pluck the leaves or the branches when you are walking there. It is something like that. When somebody is walking nearby, suppose somebody pluck your hair and take it away, what will be your feeling? Will you not be angry? The same way, if you go and pluck some leaves from a tree, it will be also feeling angry. That's all. All these things will become sin imprints to you. That's all. So, the first thing is plant. It has only one sense, touch feeling, through the skin, through the body, physical body. Alright, the plants, infinite number of plants are coming there. In the beginning, it was only there at the bottom of the sea. Then later on, it was on the land also. Wherever water is there, then it comes in the land also. So they are the first evolution. Then the tree, it leads its life for millions and millions of years. See, the consciousness, the intelligence, it works out in the tree. Even the tree has a consciousness, it has intelligence. You don't think we are only having the intelligence. Even the tree has its own intelligence. Am I correct? How do you say the tree has an intelligence? You see, you take a small rose stem and plant it there. Then you put some water and some nutrients. Then after some 3 months, it gives a A flower, rose flower, a fine, fantastic, colored rose flower. With the same water and the fertilizer what you have used for it, can you make a flower? Imagine. With the same water and the fertilizer what you have used, can you make a flower? Of the fantastic nature. That is the intelligence of that plant. That is the character of the plant. That is the consciousness of the plant. It works out there. Without any sound, without any luxuriness, it gives out a fine, beautiful flower. Similarly, all the plants, they do have their own intelligence. Their own intelligence. See, the tree is here and it is not getting sufficient water here. Then through the root, it extends. Till it finds the water, the root is going on. It may be for 10 feet, 100 feet, even 200 feet. The root goes inside. Is there any light inside that? Whether the root is using a torchlight? Just imagine. See, during the midnight, when we are thirsty, when we go to the kitchen, how many things are disturbed before we take the water? Imagine, we have both eyes. But without any eyes, the root is going, 100 feet, 200 feet, then it finds the water. What is that intelligence is having that? What is that intelligence is having that? So they are having that intelligence. Okay, all right. But it's all limited to its pressure, feeling the pressure, that's all. All right. Now, after millions of years, the tree, the plant, it thinks that, see, oh God, I'm very much disappointed. I'm staying at the same place for years and years together. I should move because my water is there at 2 miles away. I should go and take that water, drink that water. You allow me to move. Yes, God considers. He considers the request. How? He allows the plant to move. Okay, all right. How that next evolution occurs? You take some seeds. Any seeds, you take some seeds. Okay? And put the seeds in a bottle. And keep it there in your cupboard. After some 5 years, you open the seeds and see what would happen to the seeds. What would happen? Yeah, you might see some small pores or the holes there. Some kind of thing have come out from that. Am I correct? So, the life force within the seed, it takes the solid and the water vapor and the heat energy, then it forms its own body, physical body, as a small worm, then it comes out of that seed, making a small pore or a hole in it. So God has allowed that creature to move. Instead of standing at a particular place for years together, now it has the freedom to move. So now the worms, just like earthworms, any worms, they are moving. They need food. When they were as trees, they took their food from the earth as a mineral water. So now, as a worm, they are moving. How they will take their food? So when they are moving, then there is an opening comes there in front. Opening comes there in the front. It is moving. Whatever the leaf or the tree or any tender things coming there, then it goes to inside that hole. So there comes the mouth. When the worms are moving, they need food. There is a small opening at the front. Then whatever comes on its way, it takes and goes inside. That becomes the food. So the mouth comes there. Then it tastes. This is my good food. This is not good. The tongue comes there. So there is a second stage. There is a plant first sense, this second sense, the tongue, it tastes, second sense. Okay, all right, now so many types of worms are moving here and there. As a groups are moving here and there. As long as they were as plants, both sex was there inside. Both male and the female sex was there inside the plant. There was no much division in the plants as male plants and the female plants. Even now you could see most of the plants have hybrid variety, mixed sex. Only a few plants they have separate male and the female combinations. Alright, now coming to the worms, when they are moving, then there comes the male and the female. There comes the male and the female. When these worms are moving here and there, they don't have eyes, they don't have nose, they don't have ears. But because of the magnetism coming out from there, they find this is my group, this is another group. Because of the magnetism coming there, then same types of worms, they are coming together. For safety, protection and sharing of knowledge, they come together. They may not be able to speak, but because of the magnetism, they transfer their experience. So this is where we can get very good food. This is where the danger is there. They share their experience. So they come together, they come very close together. Then these two bodies, they meet together. They brush one another. Then one becomes male, another becomes female there. One becomes male, another becomes female there. So the experiences are shared. Then later on, after sharing of their experience and their body liquids there, then the another generation comes out. That is the insects with the capacity to smell. The nose is coming there. From the second sense, just like worms, then the third sense living being, they are coming there. They will be having the nose. Because these worms, when they are moving, they cannot differentiate their enemy and the friend. So they want to differentiate. That consciousness inside slowly evolves. Then they get a faculty of this nose. So it differentiates. Oh, this is your enemy. This is your good food. Okay, all right. So now the insects, most of the insects, they can be called as the three sense living beings. They have a physical body, touch feeling. They have a mouth, taste. They have a nose to smell. Three sense living being. All right. These insects are moving here and there. Millions of species are coming there. But these insects, they don't have eyes. They don't have ear. That's what happens. They are all blind. So any other creature which comes and catches, they are unable to escape. So again the consciousness works out. I should find my enemy. I should find my prey, my food. So the intelligence develops. And later on it evolves as what happens? For the fourth sense, eyes. That intelligence, it develops its eyes. The mutation we call. The intelligence which is there in each and every cell, slowly it evolves the faculty as eyes. Four sense living being. Reptiles. All the reptiles. For example, we can do snake. Snake, which has body, mouth, nose and eyes. We call as four sense living being. But it doesn't have an ear. It cannot hear. But it can observe the vibrations through the eyes and the body. When you are giving some sound, it can observe the vibration through the eye and the ear. Eye and the body, not the ear. So reptiles we call as a four sense living being. Alright, it leads its life for some time. But because it doesn't have a faculty of ear, something which is coming back, it catches as its prey. It is unable to escape. Again the consciousness. Its genetic center, its mind worries. It wants to come out of that. Therefore later on, the air evolves. After some millions of years, the air evolves. So that we call as the five sense living being. All the animals, birds, they come under the five sense living being category. Five sense means what should be there? Physical body, mouth, nose, eyes, air. So physical body, first sense, mouth, second sense, nose, third sense, eyes, fourth sense, air, five sense. So all the animals, birds, they come under the category of five sense living being. Okay? So in the five sense, what happened? Already in the universal magnetism, pressure, sound, light, taste and smell were there. Now each faculty develops. The body, it feels the pressure. One thing is over. The mouth, it tastes. Second is over. Then nose, smells. Third faculty. Eyes, light, it sees the light. Then air, the sound. So the five faculties are evolved. So for which it has taken a number of years. Then after that, five sense living being, what happens? So give some examples for five sense living being. Dog, cat, then lion, tiger, monkey, anything more? Yeah, give some more. Elephant, deer, very nice. Anything more? Huh? Human being. We are something more. We should be proud of, isn't it? Huh? Which one? Gorillas. It's monkey type, that's all. Any? Tanga? Okay, already. Oh, okay. Kangaroo. Okay, then cow. Okay, alright. So five sense living being means there should be a body, mouth, nose, eyes, and the air. Am I correct? We are also having that's all. Anything more within us? Are we five sense or six sense? We are having that's all, isn't it? We are having physical body, mouth, nose, eyes, yeah, that's all. Anything more we are having? Then how can we say we are having sixth sense? Yeah, the thinking capacity, thinking ability, the rational, creative, innovative thinking. That is the sixth sense. See, a dog lives as a dog for 100 years, 200 years, thousands of years. But the man, you see the man some 50 years back, and after some 50 years, what will be change in the man? That is the science. That is the sixth sense. 50 years back, imagine the man, whether he had any cell phone. Now you cannot see a man without a cell phone. If you want somebody to commit suicide, just you take his cell phone. Without a cell phone, they will commit suicide. In such a way, it has occupied, dominated our lifestyle. That is the advantage of science. Even there may be some evil things, but however, it's all the science, role of science. That is the sixth sense. Sixth sense. All the animals, they are narrowed down. They cannot think beyond their capacity. But human brain can think. That's why we have schools and colleges, universities only for human being, not for animals. Because they cannot develop their knowledge. They cannot develop their consciousness. Only the human consciousness we can develop up to infinite level. Up to the Almighty you can develop. But the animals, they are narrowed down. They have only the instinct. They cannot move further. That's why we are all gifted people. Alright. So in this way, this evolution occurs up to us. So from the physical elements, the plants, next the worm, insects, reptiles, then the animals and the birds, then finally the man. Therefore the man, he possesses all the qualities of their forefathers. When a child is born, it has the quality of the father and the mother. Am I correct? Alright, now let us analyze from us. We have come from there. Now let us go back. Whether we meet together or not, let us see that. Now, imagine your age. You may be 35 or 45. Where were you before you were born? Can you prove that? This is the age of scientific era. Can you prove where were you before that? Where were you before you were born? Now you say your age is 35. Where were you before 35 years? Scientifically you say that. Inside? No, dust party, it has taken billions of years. From that billions of years, now we have come here. Before you were born, where were you? Scientifically you say that. You are all the science people. Still more. You can give the right answer. The answer is there within you. If you try, you can give the answer. But the science should accept. Whatever you say, it is not philosophical, it should be scientific. Huh? Yeah, some kind of right answer is coming there. Just still more. You are in the womb of the mother. Am I correct? Before you were born, you were there in the womb of your mother, in the uterus of your mother for 10 months. Am I correct? Is there any other idea? You lived there in the uterus for 10 months. Am I correct? Okay, all right. How you come to the uterus? Before you come to the uterus or the womb of a mother, where were you? Yeah, right answer. Louder, please. Yeah. A father cell and a mother cell, they combine together to form the baby cell. Am I correct? A sperm from the father and a small egg from the mother, they combine to form the baby. Am I correct or not? Where was that cell? The sperm was there in the body of the father. The egg was there in the body of the mother. Am I correct or not? So now I say, before I was born, I were my father and mother. Am I correct or not? Before I was born, I was there in my father and mother. Am I correct or not? Maybe correct or may not be correct, but we are unable to accept. Because we have so many imaginations that before we were born, that we were dogs, monkeys, and so many things, then how can you imagine that we were father and mother? This is scientific. Am I correct or not? This is scientific. Even you take a sperm from the father and the egg from the mother, you put it in a test tube, and you see that baby is growing there. The baby grows the test tube. But because the test tube cannot expand, it has to be taken into the uterus for the growth. The science may develop in some time. There may be flexible test tube, and even the test tube may grow along with the child. After some 10 months, you can break the test tube and get the baby out. So you won't have any business for that. Maybe there. Science is coming up. One day it will be coming there. There is a chance. There is a chance for that. You can have a flexible test tube and put it there in the incubator and give all the nutrients there. The child grows. You can see everything in your scan. Maybe there. Okay, all right. So now, before we were born, we were our parents. Can I say that? At least 50% can you accept? Okay, all right. So before our parents were born, where were they? They were their parents. Am I correct? All right. Slowly take it. Finally, where we would have started? The first man and the woman. Can I say that? The first man and the woman. So they are our real grandfather and the grandmother. The first man and the woman. They are the first grandfather and the grandmother. Now we may be 700 crores of the people on the earth. For all these 700 people on the crores of people on the earth, there was only one grandfather and one grandmother. Am I correct or not? Can you accept it or not? If you accept, we all have the same grandfather and the grandmother, then what are we? We are all brothers and sisters. We are all relatives. We are all neighbors. We have forgotten our relationship, that's all. So, to renew our relationship, we got to come to aliyar to understand that we are having the same grandfather and the mother. Okay, all right. Then, the grandfather and the mother, where they have come from? Animals, 5 sense animals. 5 sense animals. Let us imagine it may be monkeys. For our imagination, we take simply as monkeys. So what our monkeys, how we can relate the monkeys to us? They are the father and mother of our grandfather and grandmother. Am I correct or not? They are our forefathers. Because they are the father of our grandfather and the mother. Monkeys, 5 sense animals, all the 5 sense animals. Dog, cat, elephant, lion, tiger. All the categories, they come under 5 sense animals. So all the 5 sense animals, they are the father and mother of our grandfather and grandmother. They are our forefathers. Whether we should respect our forefathers or we should throw the stones on the forefathers. What should you do? We should respect. Therefore, when you see the monkeys here, you go and pray, oh my grandfather, how are you? Are you fine or not? Yeah, you give a biscuit packet, it will take nicely. They are our real forefathers and mothers. All right. Really, we have to respect the animals and the birds. Because of their efforts, because of their meditation, because of their long attempt, we got all these senses. All these senses. The mouth, because of the attempt made by the trees to move, we get the mouth. Because of the worms in millions and millions of years, their attempt, we get the nose. Because of the insects, their prayer, constant prayer and the meditation, we got the eyes. Because of the reptiles, worrying for years and years together, we got the eyes. We got the air. So all these living beings are responsible for our senses. So we should really respect and pray on these animals. They are our forefathers. Without their efforts, we cannot have the eyes, nose, and all the faculties. So we should give due respect to all these animals. Whether you are respecting or not, at least you don't hurt them. You don't hurt them. So hereafter, you keep it in mind, all these living beings are our forefathers, our grandfathers, our grandmothers. Okay, all right. Can you keep it in mind for all the time? Okay, keep this in your mind all the time, particularly on Sundays. When you go to the mutton stall and keep some and see some bodies are hanging there without head, you should scold that fellow. You killed my grandfather. You should get that feeling. Okay, all right. Really it is there. Really it is there. So they are all our forefathers and the grandfathers and grandmother. We have all the qualities of them. A child has the quality of the father and the mother, grandfather and the grandmother. Similarly, we have the qualities of all the animals. Maybe some positive and negative qualities. The rough qualities may be from the animals directly. Even the good qualities, like the gratefulness, it might be from the dogs. The cooperativeness, it might be from the ants. So we have so many qualities from the animals. We have the right thinking capacity to analyze and to separate and to grow some qualities and to nullify some qualities. We have that capacity, we have that freedom that. So all these animals are our forefathers. So this is our origin. Now, the man has that potential, has that intelligence to expand his mind more and more. And finally, the mind can expand up to the space. See, the body has a limitations, it has a boundary, but the mind has no limitations. When you think the moon, it expands up to that. The universe, it expands up to that. It expands up to the space. What is the space? It's full of energy, full of consciousness. So when you merge with the space, that infinite energy becomes yours. That infinite consciousness that becomes yours. That is by the meditation, deep meditation. When you meditate, finally your mind merges with the Almighty, that space. That space is full of energy, full of consciousness that becomes yours. So our aim of the life, the purpose of the life is to understand ourselves and finally to achieve that, the fulfillness, that consciousness, that total consciousness. And we should enjoy that, the total energy and the consciousness that can be achieved only by the human being, not by any other living being. So instead of wasting our time with small petty things, we have the right to enjoy that force on the consciousness. Our mind can easily go to that level and can enjoy that. See, we were there as the space for billions and billions of years. Then slowly we transformed as dust particle, then as primary energy particle, then as atoms and molecules, then as Panchabhutas, then these galaxies, stars and other planets, then the earth, then plant, worms, insects, reptiles, animals, human being. So we have traveled very far away. We have taken millions and millions of years for the space to come to this level. Again we return back to the space. So this is our birth cycle. Now, within some 5 minutes you will see some slides. See, this is a space, absolute space, full of energy, force and the consciousness. It has that energy. That energy becomes the, see that energy becomes the dust particles there. In the first block, it becomes the dust particles. In the second block, it revolves, spins down. There is a primary energy particles. Then these particles, they combine to form atoms and the molecules. So all these 5 physical elements, the air, fire, all these things, they combine together later on. Then when these media, they spin down, the heavier things are drawn towards center by the centripetal action, and the lighter things are thrown to the side, periphery, by the centrifugal action. So heavier things will be coming there. So land comes to the center, solid comes to the center, then the liquid over there. You see the earth also, the solid rocks and the soil is there at the center, then over there, that's a liquid, water is there. Then over there, the air is there. So similarly, in all the formation, it comes like that way. So when the center, when heavier things goes to the center, and finally the heavier things, they break down because of the heaviness, because of the pressure developed there. Then there occurs some atomic fission, the fusion process. A lot of heat energies evolve from that. Therefore, the center, it gives out the heat energy and the light energy. If the heat and light energy is more and more coming there, then it becomes a sun. If it is not coming there, it becomes a planet. That's all. So in that way, all the planets and the stars are formed. So all our planets and the stars are formed in that way. So the space from the particles, dust particles, they combine to form the primary energy particles, the Akash. Then they combine to form atoms and molecules, the Panchabhutas, then the stars and the planets. Then this is the galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy. Some 10,000 crores of stars are there in the Milky Way galaxy. So each star is formed in that way. Then, you see, when you go beyond our Milky Way galaxy, then you can see such infinite number of galaxies are there. So what you see, stars here, it is inside the Milky Way galaxy. This is one galaxy. When you go beyond this galaxy, there are millions of galaxies are there. So now let's come to the earth. So the earth has the 5 physical elements: solid, liquid, fire, air and the akash. So these 5 physical elements, they combine together. Then the first sense, it evolves as a plant. Maybe infinite number of species may be there. Here for an example, we take the rose. So this is the first formation of the living being. All these 5 physical elements, they adjust their magnetism, and all these 5 magnetism, they circulate uniformly, harmoniously. Then the first living thing, it evolves the plant, which has the faculty to sense the pressure. There is a skin. Then the second, earthworms. Just like earthworms, it is a faculty, the mouth, the taste, it moves there. This is the second sense, living being. So this is an example. Instead of that, I think the insects will be more apt here. So it is a faculty of a nose to smell. Then the fourth sense, the reptiles. So they have eyes, but they don't have ears. So the fourth sense. Then from here, the fifth sense, all the animals, tiger, lion, cat, elephant, all the birds and all things, they come under this category. So, gorillas. Then from here, the man evolves. So from the animals, the man evolves. The animals, they have 4 legs. But here in the case of human being, the vertebra, the spinal cord, it stands vertically. Therefore the brain grows. Brain grows. All the brain cells, they are coming up. The intelligence coming up. So now, physically, the body level, it comes to the finest shape. Now physically we have achieved that maturity, but mentally we have to achieve. Physically, that maturity has been achieved, but we should achieve that mental maturity, that consciousness, it should grow to the infinite level. So what should we do for that? So the physical achievement has come automatically to us. So we should achieve that infinite consciousness, for which, what should we do that? Meditation. It's the only way out. Meditate, 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 and reach that consciousness. So this is the only way. If you meditate, then finally purify yourself, realize yourself, and finally you reach that absolute space. So this is the cycle. We have started from the absolute space, and we have covered the circle, and we have come to this block. Now we are standing there in the block. Purifying our genetic center, our soul, our Atma, this Jivatma can combine with the Paramatma. So we can reach that. So in the cycle, we are here in this stage. So we have come from the space, again we are returning to the space. So this is a journey to the space. We have started some millions of years back, and again we will be reaching there another thousands years after we will be reaching there. So here to the earth, we have come here as a picnic. You can live here on the earth for some time, again you have to return back to the space. That is our original house. So there we are going to be there permanently. In the earth, we will be here only temporarily we are here. How long we will be here? Maximum 100 years. Maximum 100 years we will be here. Then where we will be going back? To the space. What is the size of the space? Infinite. So the infinite size of the space is our real house. The infinite size of the space is our real house. What is there inside that infinite space? Full of force and the consciousness. The energy and the consciousness. So all the energy and the consciousness, they are our possession. They belong to us. When you meditate and become one with it, you can feel that energy and the consciousness. So that is our real assets. So you don't bother about the assets on the earth. These are all temporary. We are going to lose it after some time. Whatever may be your property, you have to give it out. So, where we are going to stay permanently? That is a space. That is a space. We will be there for another crores and crores of years. We have been there for crores and crores of years. Now this is a journey. In the journey we have covered up to this cycle. Again we will be going there. So this is the evolution process. So now we are all living on the earth. Let us live peacefully. Let us cooperate with each other. Let us help each other. Let us understand each other. So all these persons who come here, brothers, sisters, friends, they are all nothing but the representations of the Almighty. The Almighty has come to this level. So for a husband, wife is the Almighty God, and for the wife, the husband is the God. One God lives with another God. That's all. So when you respect the friends, relatives, then the life will be peaceful and successful. So Samuji has given a lot of things. Because I have taken so much time now, and you have to go for another lecture, I conclude this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you all.